Have you ever gotten confused about when to use play, go, and do for sports and activities? It might seem like a small thing, but I often find myself correcting my students when it comes to using the right verb. You've probably heard sentences like, I do tennis every weekend, or I do jogging, or I play yoga. But unfortunately, these are not correct. But the good news is I'm here to clear things up. In today's lesson, I'm going to teach you the proper way to use these verbs and give you some simple rules to remember. Believe me, it's much easier than you think. So let's start with play. There are several things to consider when using this verb. Use the verb play if the sport is a team sport. Okay, that's the first thing you have to remember. If it's a team sport, such as football or basketball, rugby, and so on. It consists of a certain number of team players, right? You can also use this verb if the sport only has two players, such as tennis or badminton. But in every case, in order to use the verb play, the sport has to involve two or more people. These sports all have a competitive element. They are competitive sports, okay? That's the second thing you have to remember. So this means you are competing with someone else, whether it's one opponent or a whole team. And another thing to remember is if the sport involves using a ball, which a lot of sports do, then you can use the verb play. But as with everything in English, there are always some exceptions, right? They're quite rare in this case, but there are some. For example, chess is one of them. So chess is a sport which involves two opponents competing against each other, but the sport doesn't involve a ball. So here are some more examples other than the ones I've already mentioned that involve two or more players and use a ball. So sports like volleyball, cricket, baseball, golf, hockey, water polo, polo, and many more. Next, the verb do, on the other hand, is for sports and activities that don't usually involve a team. This is often an individual sport or an activity that is more focused on physical exercise or skill. These activities don't typically have a competitive element or a game-like structure. They have a focus on training and self-discipline or just practice rather than competition. So use the verb do for sports and activities like yoga, Pilates, weightlifting, or gymnastics, as well as all martial arts. These are sports that you can do alone. But again, there is a slight exception here as well. We also use do for martial arts, as I mentioned. This might sound slightly more confusing because a lot of the time there are martial arts competitions where the opponents fight against each other. However, martial arts like karate or judo, taekwondo, and kung fu, they also use do because they are not just seen as competitive sports, but as a system of training and self-discipline and also personal development. And lastly, we use the verb go for activities that involve movement or action and are usually done outside. It's commonly used with outdoor activities, particularly when the focus is on the act of moving or traveling to a particular place in order to take part in that sport or activity. Some examples are running, skiing, hiking, or cycling. For all of these sports, you have to go somewhere, okay? They cannot be done from the comfort of your own home unless you have a treadmill or a static bike or a ski slope. But the majority of the time, you have to go to the mountain or the swimming pool or anywhere outdoors in order to do that sport or activity. And also a quick little tip. When the verb is followed by ing, such as snowboarding, surfing, skateboarding, running, skiing, cycling, and so on, we use go. So for example, go plus verb plus ing. Here's a quick little recap just to make sure you fully understand. I've also included a little test for you, so make sure to pause the video and write your answers down in the comment section, and I'll make sure to check each and every one of them and tell you if your answers are correct. So once again, play is for team sports or competitive games that often use a ball. For example, I play football. Do, on the other hand, is for individual or non-team activities, which focuses on physical exercise without the competitive element. For example, I do yoga. And lastly, go is for activities that involve movement or outdoor action. Also use go if the verb is in its ing form. For example, I go running. So now go ahead and pause the video and make sure to fill in the blank to complete the sentences, and don't forget to write your answers down in the comment section. And there you have it, everyone. I hope that was helpful. Let me know down in the comment section if you take part or do or play any sports. But for now, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next Friday. Bye.